Morning, everyone. Sarah's dumps. I need to hold this and walk around because it feels weird behind a podium. Okay, I'm not going to use the cowbell because it just triggers me from football season that's sadly over as a Buffalo Bills fan, but we will get everyone participating because I heard some giggling when she said Sarah's dumps, and that's the goal, can't take life too seriously. So I'm going to say Sarah's, and you're going to say dumps. And we'll do it 3 times, and if by the 3rd time it's not good enough, we're going to keep doing it until my time is out, okay? So, Sarah's. Dumps. Sarah's. Dumps. Sarah's. Dumps. Cool. Wasn't sure how that was going to go. Just kind of thought of it on a whim. Oh, perfect. Thank you. What button do I click to go? These are coded. Green to go. Got it. All right, good morning, everyone. My name's Sarah Williams-Scalise. It's a long hyphenated last name, and you can blame my husband for that because he had a long hyphenated last name from his mother, and I adopted both and dropped my own. So shout out to the hyphenated last names in the world. It's a journey, And we moved to Charleston in 2015 after we got married because we were living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that was fine. But it wasn't home to us. It just never felt right. You know what I'm saying? So after 3 years, we're like, let's try somewhere else. And my my college roommate lived here and still does. And a couple people in Charlotte were like, why don't you try out Charleston? You seem to kind of the coastal vibe. And we're like, we don't want to move to South Carolina. At least we're in North Carolina. And both being Northerners, we're like, do we want to move to South Carolina? Is that going to be safe? So we came down to visit, and Charleston was nothing like what we kind of envisioned in our minds and assumed that South Carolina would be. And then we moved here shortly thereafter, within a few weeks. My husband found a job, and then we moved here, and we've been here ever since. And I can't believe it's been 10 years now, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the business that we created. So it started in 1988 when I was born. And the Olympics were happening in Seoul, South Korea, and coincidentally, I was also born. Not at the Olympics, but in the same country as the Olympics. And I was adopted to a family in upstate New York. It was a long journey. I'm told, I have no memory of this, but I'm told that I slept basically the entire way, which checks out because now I could fall asleep right here if I wanted to. I'm just a great sleeper, which is all you could want in a baby. So you're welcome, Dad. And grew up in a small town in upstate New York, literally a world away. And when I was growing up, my parents would send me in the summer times, to 2 Korean culture camps, one in Albany and one in the Utica area. And if you're of any heritage or ethnicity, as an adult especially, it would be so cool, kind of like people that do the 23andMe and Ancestry.com, just to find out more about where you came from and that culture that you came from. And so all of the other kids at these Korean culture camps were adopted from South Korea. So we already had that as a baseline in common. You're little, so you don't know what's going on, but they teach you some cool stuff, and you get to wear fun outfits if you're a little girl, and you get to make some really good food. And one of it was mandu, which are Korean dumplings. And I remember growing up and then graduating from high school and in college, and every piece of my journey, I would always make mandu for whatever group of friends I had at the time. And I don't think that's why my friends at the time went away, because they said the food was good. So I don't think that's why, we just moved around a lot, So in November 2019, we were living here for a few years. We were both working full-time jobs, my husband and myself. And I was working at a co-working space, and anyone that's been in an office or a co-working space, it's the idea is that you're working together and maybe collaborating on things, and it's great because you've got a diversity of businesses in the same space. But the reality of the American work life is that we go to work and we put our heads down no matter where we are. And so no one's actually talking to each other. There are people in the same building that I've been working alongside, literally next to, and I didn't even know their names. And so I was like, let's do a potluck where we all bring some kind of food, and that way we're all eating at the same time and not eating at our desks, and we can get to know each other a little bit more. And I was like, I'm gonna make mandu, and I'm gonna cook it there and be really dramatic about it to get all the attention. And it worked. And so all of these people that I didn't know before this told me that they were good. And I was like, I just didn't think it was our best effort. But thank you. And that was the first time in my life that I had made mandu for people that I didn't personally know. So they were gonna be honest with me. They didn't have to pretend that they liked it because we weren't friends anyway. You know what I mean? So we started making them from home because we were like, oh, maybe people will like pay money for these. This could be like a fun little side business for us in the evenings and weekends. And like, what else are we gonna do, watch Netflix? Like, no, it's not. That's not how we operate. So we started making them from home, and before we made it legit and paid money for our LLC and EIN, we did like a donation-based sales tactic. So we were like, okay, you can buy quantities of 5, which we were like, no one's gonna buy 5 dumplings, that's crazy. And now we're selling them in bags of 35. And we were like, the suggested donation's $5. So that didn't cost us any money to do, right, besides ingredients. And then it was immediately profitable as we were getting sales. And then we would post on social media, and we would have like our network of friends and people in the Charleston community order through a free GoDaddy website, like for free, I'm pretty sure it was. We had to buy the domain, but otherwise it was free. And they would fill out this form, and we would just operate from there. It was a lot of manual stuff, but we were trying to keep the startup costs as low as possible. So once that was successful for about a month, then we decided to make it legit, and we filed for our LLC on 11/13. We found a free kitchen to operate out of because we couldn't operate out of our kitchen anymore. It started getting weird. It was like friends of friends coming to get dumplings, and we're like, okay, let's go to a more professional setting and space where you're not coming to our house and know where we live in case you hate this food. And then you find us again, throw eggs at us. So we found this commissary kitchen. We linked up with a local restaurant here in Charleston, and it was a breakfast place. So he was like, you can come in the evenings when we're closed and make your food then, and just like bring your stuff in, bring your stuff out, make sure everything is clean. And so like our DHEC license was there and on the window of that restaurant. And that was great. And then social media, I mean, it's just like a great free tool that you can use as a small business owner, and especially when it's food, it just lends itself to that platform because everyone wants to scroll and see delicious food or see how other people are preparing food or watch a video of ASMR crispy dumplings. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all want that, right? Okay. So then we purchased that domain, had the free GoDaddy one-page website. Again, everything was very manual that we were doing, but we didn't want to spend a ton of money for a PR company or spend a ton of money for this online ordering application. So we just did everything as like bootstrapped and basic as possible to get us off the ground. And then we connected with the Charleston City paper locally, which doesn't cost us money for them to write an article about something cool that's happening in the community. And we scheduled our first pop-up at a local brewery in December of 2019, which they didn't charge us because we're bringing the crowd. So fast forward to today, it's now been like 5.5 years of dumplings, which is crazy. So in November of last year, we did a pop-up, we had a cake, it was a whole thing. It was delicious. And we celebrated 5 years of dumplings. So now we offer frozen dumplings still, but the packaging is not a Ziploc bag, and you're not coming to my home. So we've definitely leveled up in 5.5 years. We've got resealable frozen dumplings. We sell them through retailers here locally in Charleston, and then we still do about one pop-up a month along with workshops on how to make these dumplings with people because people are really curious about how they're made and how they can operate the same way we do. And with everything that we do, the goal at the end of the day, this is still our side business, right? A lot of people start a small business and then we still get asked all the time, what's next? Like, when am I gonna see you in Whole Foods or Harris Teeter or God knows where? And I say, never, because I do not want to take all of those little cuts, big cuts that you take to be in the big grocery stores, but these small retailers aren't going to charge you money for shelf space, because when our product sells in their brick and mortar and someone goes in for our product, everyone can win, and that's always our goal. And so we want to always share and celebrate the story of adoption, which is why this business could start in the first place. Give back to the community, whether that's people that ask for advice or have questions, and then create experiences. We did a private dumpling making class last night, and these ladies had a blast. And they've never made dumplings, they've done pierogies. And so it was like trying kimchi for the first time, introducing them to a sweet potato noodle, which is like special to Korean food. So it's just cool to create these experiences with other people. And then what worked for us from the beginning? Because again, we didn't get any funding. We don't want to have outside funding. I don't want to give up the 51% of my business that I own, because I own 51% of it. My husband owns 49%, because that's how you do it. So what's worked, we called in a lot of favors. Like our first logo was from a graphic designer. I think we traded him like 30 dumplings for a logo. And we're like, we just need something to put on our stuff, and it's still the logo we're using today. So that was a win, 5.5 years later for 30 dumplings. We used Instagram. We were like very active on there. And I know it's hard to beat the algorithm, but it's just like a lot of good content, until you're like blue in the face. We did a really big COVID pivot. So instead of doing all of these in-person events and having people pick up, we started delivering to people's homes. So you'd like map out these deliveries, and then from 5 to 8 after we had our full-time jobs, we would go and deliver to the Tri-County area and like drop it off on someone's stoop, back up 5,000 feet with like still masks on, and like give a wave to make sure they got them. And a lot of people still remember that. Like they'll come up to me and be like, I ordered them during COVID. And I'm like, thank you, you kept us alive, you know? And then using pop-ups classes and the frozen through retailers as multiple forms of revenue. So it's not like we're just banking on one, and if one isn't good that month, then we can't fall back on the other. So we're just very consistent in our plan every single month. And then collaborating locally, like wherever you live, there's always going to be other brands, other companies, media outlets that want to hear your story. So if you're a small business owner, you're doing something cool in the community, like people want to know about that. They're not going to shun you because you don't think that it's up to par with what they should be sharing. So now we're going through a rebrand. We're adding a lot of color. So maybe next time I'm here, I'll be wearing more colorful things, but right now it's just black and white and a little tan. And so these colors in this new packaging will roll out in probably Q2 of this year, and we just thought after 5 years, it's probably time to level up, take the feedback we've gotten over the years, and make some shifts. And so that's my husband Nate and myself. The length of his beard varies depending on the year and when this photo is taken, and also the length of my hair, but what are you gonna do? At least we still have it. So if you guys have any comments, any questions, anything that you need help with, we're an open book. Instagram is Sarah's Dumps. You can safely Google Sarah's Dumps, and it will be our stuff. It's not like weird stuff. So people wonder that. They're like, if I Google Sarah's Dumps, like, well, what's gonna come up? That's gonna be our stuff. Like, I think we've claimed page 1 of Google, which is quite the feat. So please reach out if there's anything I can do to help you guys, even connecting you with other local businesses or platforms that will help you with your business or idea. Thank you.